All right, well, welcome everyone. Good morning. Thank you all for joining us today for this webinar. Um, I'm Erin Arcan from the Office of Senator Jack Reed. Before we start, we have a brief welcome message from Senator Reed that we'd like to play.
Good morning. I'd like to thank Dave and his team at the Rhode Island Manufacturers Association, as well as Matt and his team at Polaris, for helping organize this event today. I'd also like to thank the folks from DOE's Office of Manufacturing and Energy Supply Chains for being our featured speakers. And I'd like to thank you all for joining us. You are all leaders in Rhode Island's business community, and you know how vital it is to cut costs where you can. The good news is Congress recently passed two massive laws to help consumers, communities, and businesses lower energy costs and power our economy and our clean energy future forward. Between the bipartisan infrastructure law and the Inflation Reduction Act, there are billions of dollars to help manufacturers save energy, improve productivity, and reduce waste. The question is, how do you take full advantage of these laws and maximize their benefits? Well, I'm pleased to have representatives from the Department of Energy here to go over key programs in detail. They will offer an overview of how manufacturers can utilize these new laws and answer any questions you may have. In addition to today's panel, I just launched a special section of my website, read.senate.gov/IRA. It is a one-stop shop for Inflation Reduction Act resources and helpful links. And if your team needs additional help, please don't hesitate to contact my office. The climate is changing. It is not a debate. From wildfire smoke to floods to heat waves and ever-rising temperatures in Narragansett Bay, we are seeing the stark reminders of the urgent need to address climate change. And people get it. And they get that this national investment will help them lower energy costs and help them transition to a clean energy future. We must seize the opportunity before us, and the success of this federal law and how it helps Rhode Island depends in large part on you. I look forward to continuing our work together, and I thank you again for your outstanding leadership.
Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce someone who's helped to organize this event with us, Dave Chenevert, Executive Director of the Rhode Island Manufacturers Association.
Good morning, everyone. As the executive director for RIMA, we try to promote those discussions that are positive to help the manufacturers curb their cost and support them.
energy sector industrial base, and develop activities that could support the resilient base. And so these reports lay out dozens of critical strategies across the supply chain for energy, and you see the list of deep dive assessment report on the right side. Literally, it just cuts across everything about the energy sector industrial base, from high capacity batteries to the electric grid to energy storage to critical materials to semiconductors, renewable energies, as you see here. Our office was then stood up once the BIL and IRA was enacted. It was obviously that the Department of Energy got billions of dollars to apply against the gaps that we identified in our energy sector. And so that's really what the Manufacturing and Energy Supply Chains Office is all about. The department stood up an entire new undersecretary for infrastructure, and we were a brand new office within the Department of Energy. So that's sort of us in a nutshell in our history. If you go to the next slide. Even though we're a brand new office, you know, we came, you'll see here in a few minutes that, you know, we do come with significant dollars. You know, all told, direct funding, it's over $10 billion. Plus, we're also working with Treasury on some of the tax credit provisions as well, which is another $10 billion. And so I'll get into the details of those opportunities here in a few minutes. But, you know, with a new office, you obviously want to set up some mission statements and distinguish yourself across a large organization like the Department of Energy. And so ours are brand new. Like I said, we're focused on scale up and deployment of manufacturing infrastructure that's critical to the energy sector industrial base. That means either new manufacturing capacity in key energy sector areas, facility upgrades to reduce energy burden and industrial decarb, and also working with domestic manufacturers to support workforce development as we see this transition occurring in our economy. On the right side here, we also saw the need for a more detailed assessment and capabilities associated with the supply chains. And you know, we have a lot of capabilities at our national laboratories that we've developed in with universities on modeling and mapping and analysis. So we've embarked on a comprehensive modeling, mapping, and analysis work to develop the tools that will be necessary to not only understand the energy sector industrial base supply chains, from raw materials to refined materials all the way to component manufacturing and system assembly, to end use, and then even end of life. And so we want to map out each one of those supply chains and then understand where the key areas are, the gaps are in our manufacturing capacity in the United States, launch programs to help fill those gaps, but also understand the interconnections between our energy sector industrial base and our economy as well. So next slide, please. As a new office, we've set up, you know, major programs, one on facility and workforce assistance, as you see here, one on battery and critical materials, and then another office on analysis and strategic investment. These are sort of identified by the end users, the primary stakeholders. For instance, the facility and workforce assistance office, you know, we specifically support small and medium manufacturers, their growth, and innovative ways to decrease carbon emissions and support workforce. Primary stakeholders, again, a broad group of industrial enterprises. Typically, it's regional and small and medium, and of course, we bring in academia into this for the workforce training, community colleges and tech schools, and of course, state and local governments are important, specifically when you're dealing with small and medium-sized enterprises in a region. That middle area, battery and critical materials, sort of emulates some of the major funding that we received on the battery material supply chain. And so we're off executing programs to basically leverage and establish manufacturing capacity across the advanced battery supply chain, whether it's refined materials, battery components like new cathodes and anodes, cell manufacturing, and even even recycling as well. So focus there is really on upstream and midstream mineral processing and refining and materials production. We actually have a major emphasis on recycling as well. And then the third area that we've segmented ourselves is just the analysis and strategic investment, developing that supply chain modeling, mapping and analysis, deep dive and broad dive to make sure that we understand what the supply chains look like, where we need to stand up new manufacturing capacity, and how the whole energy sector sort of interplays within itself. So more of a focus on the component level, grid components, energy storage, solar and wind and fuel cells and things of that nature in that segment. And next slide. So as I mentioned, although we're a new office, we do have a lot of funding through BIL and IRA. Here's some of the sections that are associated with each of these offices. I'm going to highlight a few of these. For instance, our industrial assessment centers. I'm going to highlight the activities there. We've normally worked with universities to do industrial assessments for small and medium-sized enterprises, but the BIL actually provided funds to actually expand that work, and then also implement some of the recommendations coming out of our IAC assessments. And you see like BIL 40534 State Manufacturing Leadership Program. It's one of those activities to stand up state programs to support advanced manufacturing, as you'll see here in a few minutes. Our battery critical materials area, again, I'll have a few slides on that, but that's about $6 billion worth of effort. And most of this, if not all of it actually, is minimally matched by private sector investments. So, you can easily multiply all of this money by 2, and maybe sometimes by 3 and 4, depending on what area we're in. And then, of course, areas like the rebate programs that you'll hear about, the 48C tax credits, I've got a slide on as well. So don't mean to go into deep dives on each of these areas. I didn't want to put those up for you to take a look at. And if there's any of these areas that you're specifically connected into or want more information about, please let us know. We're more than happy to meet with you one-on-one to discuss some of these opportunities. Next slide, please. So let's get started. I mentioned the industrial assessment centers, and that's if you really don't know in your business, those areas that are available to you in order to increase your efficiency, increase your production while reducing greenhouse gas emissions. This is a good place to start. We pay for university type engineering schools and graduate schools to actually do free assessments to small and medium-sized enterprises, to actually provide that tech assistance that they can identify areas where you can improve efficiency, improve production, and more. And so it's a detailed process. A report comes out straight to you. And now that the BIL funds are what we call our implementation grant program, there's actually money there for you to help you to implement some of those assessments. In the past, it was we provide the assessment, and it was up to the small and medium-sized enterprise to do the implementation on their own. Now we have funds to actually match what you do, and hopefully to accelerate that implementation. Overall, the IAC teams have conducted over 20,000 assessments and provided over 150,000 recommendations. So you see the university is involved here. We are expanding that even as we speak to community colleges and trade schools as well. So, if you really want more information, again, please reach out to Virginia, and we can put you in contact with our team here to discuss how you can use this program to help your business. Next slide, please. And I mentioned the Smart Manufacturing High Performance Computing, the BIL 40534. That's a state manufacturing leadership program, and that's where we give grants specifically to states to stand up activities to accelerate the use of smart manufacturing by small and medium-sized enterprises. And so smart manufacturing, you see the definitions here, that's really using the advanced technologies, the sensors and controls, networks, digital prototyping, the machine learning, additive manufacturing, things you hear a lot about. But it's one thing to read about these individual types of innovations. How do you actually implement them? And this is what this program's about, is working with state programs to help implement smart manufacturing technologies. And part of the program is actually to connect state programs and local programs with high performance computing capabilities. We have a lot of those capabilities at our national laboratories that can be brought to bear to help small and medium-sized enterprises to achieve greater productivity, reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Next slide, please. I do want to talk a little bit about the battery supply chain. When we talk about modeling, mapping, and analysis, we've already done the deep dives here in that, linking up our upstream mining extraction resources to refine materials. Where are those opportunities? Where is the nation lacking in those areas? What the projections are for the future need of materials, and then developing plans to actually fill those gaps. It's an all-of-government approach here. I chair the Federal Consortium for Advanced Batteries, which includes 16 different federal agencies. Also, within those federal agencies, about 60 different offices have a stake in advanced batteries. So we're all in it. We're working this out, whether it's for commercial applications or for defense applications. Across the supply chain here, you see from upstream, midstream, downstream to end of life. And, we have gaps in the United States in all of these areas, but there are ample opportunity for us to actually capture market share. So I mentioned the BIL grant program, $6 billion for this area. We just announced back in October, the first selections was 21 awards. We put in 2.8 billion. Industry actually matched us at 6.2 billion. So you can see that there's huge leverage here. Next opportunity is coming up really soon. So if you see areas across the supply chain that you're interested in pursuing, then please contact us and let us know. We can fill you in on the opportunities here. And then the next slide, please. And, I mentioned lithium battery recycling is going to be so important to our supply chain, particularly to the reverse logistics of recycling, which, is sort of everybody can have a hand in. And how do you collect spent batteries and then get those spent batteries to either a second use application or to the material recovery center? So it really starts with that reverse logistics space. So we're doing a lot of work here to stand up profitable business models for the collection of spent batteries, whether it's EV batteries or whether it's consumer electronic batteries. All of those have a lot of critical minerals in it. They've got lithium, they've got cobalt, nickel, copper, and things of that nature. So the first part is to get these batteries back at their end of life, do those qualification and diagnostics on those batteries to determine what their useful life is, if there is a potential to use it again for another application, or just to ship those batteries to the recycling center. Once at the recycling center, we're developing innovations to profitably recover battery materials and get those materials back into the material supply chain for the nation. So over time, this is going to be so important to establish a comprehensive strategy to capture spent batteries and get those materials back into the supply chain. Next slide, please. So, this one, yep. So, got a few more slides. I did want to highlight the 48C investment tax credit program. We're supporting the Treasury Department to implement this program. The Inflation Reduction Act included $10 billion of tax credits, up to 30% for investments that, as you see, that re-equip, expand, or establish manufacturing facilities across a wide area of the clean energy sector, as you see here on that first row, from renewable energy to fuel cells to electric and fuel cell vehicles and other energy technologies. But also another major area is to process and refine or recycle critical materials. Those materials on either the USGS list or the DOE list. USGS has 50 critical minerals. We've identified 37 of those that are critical to the energy sector energy sector industrial base. So, and then of course to re-equip manufacturing facilities to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So, either installing low or zero carbon processed heat, carbon capture and transport and storage, or just simply energy efficiency and waste reduction in industrial processes. So this is a large opportunity. We just closed our first round of concept papers, but there's that was for $4 billion of credit, potentially $4 billion of these investment tax credits. We have another round to go to continue to spend to identify areas to spend the other $6 billion. So please, keep your eyes out for this. It's a big opportunity across the clean energy sector. Next slide. Okay, I did want to. I was asked specifically to bring this up to you. Transform an extended product system rebate program, and so the BIL actually included $10 million for energy efficient extended product system rebates and $10 million for energy efficient transformer rebates. So, and these as you see here, we just actually launched this program. On the right side where it says status and timeline, we have a third-party administrator called ICF, and so we opened the application portal just last week. And so if you've bought extended product systems such as electric motors and installed those into your manufacturing lines, or electric controls, or driven loads, pumps, air compressors. If you bought energy efficient those components and installed those into your manufacturing line, that's you have a potential rebate that you can get for that up to $25,000 per application. Same story for energy efficient transformer rebates. If you've replaced an old transformer with a high energy efficient transformer, again, there's a potential that you could get a rebate for that. Just wanted to highlight that. There's a lot of medium-sized and small businesses that have done things like that, and this would be a good opportunity for you to be rewarded for being one of the leaders in this space. So, next slide. I just want to end here on technical assistance. We do provide technical assistance to small and medium-sized enterprises, and particularly we link in our Department of Energy's National Lab expertise across a wide range of spaces, whether it's minerals and processing, or just advanced materials production, or manufacturing, advanced technologies and components, how to manufacture those efficiently. So we can link small and medium-sized enterprises with experts at our national laboratories to help implement these advanced innovations into your manufacturing supply chain or supply lines. feel free to reach out to us for that technical assistance, and Virginia can get you into the right teams here at the Department of Energy. And with that, I think the next slide is just a thank you, and provide you some, how to stay in touch with our office. And we look forward to the discussion and working with you to advance and progress clean energy, the clean energy sector in the industrial base. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Director Howell, for that presentation and for your comments and helping to bring some light to some of these programs. We can go into a Q&A session if anyone has any comments that they have or questions that they would like answered. If you just click on the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen, Derek will be able to choose you and unmute you. So we'll wait a little bit to see if any questions come through. Victoria is asking, what is the definition of medium-sized business? this call today.
Hey, thank you. It was
Thank
our
you.
pleasure. We look forward to working with you.
Likewise. Well, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.